Hey, hello everyone, and welcome back to another build/live episode where last night I tried to install Claude Code on my Windows computer, and it is not compatible with Windows. And you need to download something that's called Linux or WSL, or if you have a Mac, I'm saying it runs totally fine on their operating system. And I've been wanting to use Claude Code for a while. I've been seeing all of these really cool demos of how it integrates with your code base, and I really wanted to try it. So I've tried a couple of times to try to integrate Claude Code into my terminal, into my IDE, and every time it failed and it was keep on going into these annoying process where it's keep on running through PowerShell and not through Linux. And so every time I didn't have enough time and I gave up. And then yesterday I watched another cool demo. I was like, you know what? Like, I really want to try it. So today's live is going to be more around showing you how I went from not knowing at all to how to install Claude Code on my Windows computer using ChatGPT and showing you just the actual conversations that I went through to install it to get it to working. Because I think people have this divide of how to use AI and like maybe they're going to ask too dumb of a question and like it's not going to be helpful enough. So I'm going to be walking through my chats showing you that like no question is too dumb of a question, and if you stick with it long enough, you'll be able to figure out something using AI. And I'm going to share all of that with you because I before diving into this journey, I did not know how to code, or I would still say, I don't know, it's like if you're a vibe coder, I don't know if you're considered a coder, but I have built some amazing applications using Cursor, using Lovable, using Gemini, and it's amazing what you could do once you have access to these AI tools that are getting significantly better at coding. And I did not know how to use the terminal at all, and I was scared of using the terminal, and I had no clue how to use any commands, any functions. And because I came from a business background, I graduated law school. So I had zero coding whatsoever, but I saw that was the future. So I just kept on asking AI questions and questions and questions and screenshots and screenshots. And then eventually I got more comfortable and picking up on the terminology. And that's how I got to where I am today. So just to quickly give a background of what Claude Code is, if people are unfamiliar, that it's basically it's Anthropic's large language model that runs in your terminal, and it helps you edit code, uh, build applications, and it's known as really the best coder right now because it plans tasks and then executes them and in a really good job. So its error rate is really low. And that's something that's really good to have, especially if you don't know exactly where each error is occurring. And so the more accurate it could be on the first try, that is what is very important to me. So here it just says like on their website, like just to do this command line and like install Node.js. And before all of this, I had no clue what Node.js was. I did not even know where to put this code to install it. And I'll just show you all of that. So it just says install it. And so let's say someone would go, and then if you're on Windows, you would get a lot of error messages saying that it didn't work. Let me just see here if it even says it doesn't work on Windows. I think it did say somewhere. Code documentation. And if anyone has any questions along the way, I'm more than happy to answer them. Okay. See, it says just go to your terminal, do that. These are the features. And you could add it also with your IDE. See, doesn't even say right away that it won't work with Windows. But trust me, like it does not work with Windows. Okay. Now we're going to go through my exact chat of what I did last night on trying to get Claude Code to work on Windows and showing you how I was literally asking the dumbest questions because I did not know how to get it installed, how to open it, how to run it, what to do. And AI helped me with that entire process. And we're going to go through that right now. Okay. So this is my chat from last night, changing nothing. So my embarrassment is out here for everyone to see. So I started off in 03 just saying, okay, what do I need to know about installing and running WSL on my Windows computer? Because I got an error that said I need WSL to run on a Windows computer, and which is, I think, yeah, so it's a subsystem for Linux. And right now the Windows runs OS or like the PowerShell, and it's incompatible for some reason. I don't know past that. So then, okay, it tells me what WSL is. Okay, you're able to run a full Linux environment. Here there are the prereqs, one command installation. Then here, so like it started giving me a step-by-step, like open PowerShell as administrator. So like that's what like you could go to like your search bar, type in PowerShell, and then click as admin. And then you could copy this code and do WSL install. So then it gives me all of this. And like it might look very scary, but you like don't need to know exactly what everything means. But as long as you understand what you're doing and you're not installing anything, like don't install anything that you don't understand to your computer. Okay, so then running, accessing files, tips, gotchas. Then there's also, once it's installed, you can't always access the chats or the files that are on your Windows side of the computer because now it's installed on the Linux side of the computer, which is also something I didn't understand. So that I had to keep going back and forth. Okay, so at least I got a little of an overview. So here, so like this is like my question because I was concerned. Like I don't know what it is. So I'm doing this so I can use Claude Code, but I'm not a programmer. So will this affect my computer? And is it harmless? See, okay, I'm being smart. So it loves agreeing and complimenting. Okay, so you're installing WSL to run Claude Code. And is WSL safe? Okay, it comes from Microsoft. It doesn't replace my Windows main system. It runs isolated. It doesn't slow down my computer. It can be turned off at any time, and it does not impact my existing files. Okay, it's like installing a sandbox Okay, so you're not a programmer, so will you struggle? And this did not go smooth. Like once I started getting up, I'll show you, like there was throwing a lot of errors. So, okay, so a little, not fatally. So since you're doing this just to use Claude Code, here's how to use it simple. So use Ubuntu, which I was not really familiar with, and then stick to basic commands. And then I'm actually also opening up Claude Code within Cursor, and then so it kind of contained and I see all the files it's editing, and I'll show you that after. Yeah, so it's, yeah, don't install unknown packages, don't move sensitive files into the Linux environment, and you're able to undo it. Okay, so I was like, okay, great. And then I asked, can I edit my files that are not within the WSL environment through Cursor with Claude? Then it says I could edit it, but do it with caution. And then it started explaining to me the difference between accessing your files through WSL and Windows via WSL, which was getting a little complicated. And there has to be like a certain extension or like the permission line that it was trying to explain to me that was giving it a lot of issues down the line. So it said if you copy the folders into your Linux home, then it would be easier. But at this point, I didn't even know what the Linux home meant. Like, where does it live? Where does it, like, where do you even access it? So then I said, okay, so how do I start? Walk me through the process from start to finish. I see the big picture. And it said, okay, great. Because like I just want to know from start to finish, how is it going to go? Okay, the goal is use Claude Code. Okay, install WSL. Okay, open the PowerShell, paste this. What it does, it'll install this. It'll install Ubuntu. Everything's going to be set up automatically. And then after reboot, search for Ubuntu in the start menu and open it. And then it's going to ask me to create a username and a password. Then it says copy your files into the Linux side, which I still did not know what that meant. And then open Cursor. And now you could talk to it. Okay, and these are the steps. So at this point, I still did not know what that meant by moving things over from Windows to Linux, because from my brain and perspective, that's like not a programmer. It's like, it's on my computer. Like, what does that mean to take the files from Windows and put it onto Linux? Like, is it a totally like separate operating system? Is it like a different account I have to log into? So it says, no, you don't have to move your files, but it's smarter to do it if you're a serious coder. So it says you keep it and then open the Windows file and then toggle into the Linux environment. So I decided to try to keep it in the Windows environment for right now. So the next thing I did was, okay, so I went to my terminal and then I did that first step and it installed. And I typed in my username and password. And then I was getting errors. So this is where it was starting to get fun, because it just says, oh, it will download and it will work, but that was far from the case. Wait, so here, so I did, here, this is in the Windows screen. So I did the WSL install, and then okay, installing Ubuntu, and then enter the username and it said that was a bad username, so I had to do this. Try again, updated my password. Okay. And then this happened. So I was like, okay, great. Now what do I do? Because like I just don't know. Like I'm using AI to literally hold my hand and walk me through the entire process. And like that is what's possible. Like if you just take enough time, like it will help you. So now it says you're in. You just successfully installed Ubuntu. That was the hardest part. Well, in my case, it was not the hardest part. Okay, so now it says you're logged into the Linux terminal. And your environment's fully working. And you are currently in your Linux home folder. Whatever that meant. At this point, I did not know what that meant. And then, okay, next step, access your Windows file. So it said this, the command line, optional to copy, then open your cursor. Okay, it said before I needed to restart my computer, so I said it didn't make me restart my computer. Do I need to? And then it said I don't. And it said quick diagnostic. Okay. So it said here, like this is where like, yeah, people are too embarrassed to share their conversations because they might look dumb. But I think this is really where the real learning happens, because now I know what to do. I'm fairly comfortable with like opening Claude Code and could speak to at least some part of installing it. But if I didn't go through this entire process, I wouldn't have those skills beforehand. So it said launch it. So I'm like, I don't know what that means. So I wrote, what does that mean, launch WSL? Like, is it not launching through the regular terminal? So it said, okay, let me clarify. What does launch WSL mean? So it's not a separate app you launch. It's a Linux layer integrated into Windows. And when you open Ubuntu, then from the start menu, type WSL in PowerShell, and you're already launching WSL. But that was not working. I mean, like afterwards. Okay. So then it was giving me big picture, double check, final thought. Then I just wanted to clarify a little bit more about what is the difference between PowerShell and Ubuntu. So I wrote, do certain things on PowerShell not work if I'm trying to do it in Ubuntu? And it said, yes, that's very important. And then this was giving me the breakdown of the difference between PowerShell Windows and Ubuntu in WSL, which is Linux. And there are certain commands that work based on certain file paths. Okay, what doesn't cross over, then it was giving me more. Okay. And I just wanted a bit more of an explanation. So I said, how do I know when to use which? Then it kind of gave me more of an overview. See here, cheat sheet. Still not sure if you want to give you an example. Okay. So I was following all of its instructions, and I downloaded it like it said, and I wanted to run it. And this is what happened when I tried it. It said Claude Code is still not supported on Windows. So I'm like, okay, like I don't know what to do now. So this is where the AI really like, especially until now, but like this is where like the magic really happens, where now you could push past the boundaries of what you were able to do beforehand. So I just took a screenshot. I'm like, why is this error showing up? So it said it's showing up because you're trying to install Claude Code in the wrong environment, even though it looks like I'm in WSL. So I was in WSL trying to install Claude Code, but the WSL was some reason opening on Windows and not fully within the Linux environment. So that was still causing an issue. See from inside, but the folder lives in the Windows system. Like there were just so many nuances that definitely was not prepared for. And like this is why I think I failed so many times in the past was just I was not as comfortable with the terminal as I was right now. So I had a better idea of how to navigate some of this stuff. So I think that's why I got it and tried to push through more now. Okay, so the fix, move to a Linux folder. Okay, and then create a Linux folder, then install the code. And then it said why this matters. And after that, you can do this. So at this point, I still was not sure. What does that mean, a Linux folder? So I said, where do I start and create a Linux folder? Like, there's no too dumb of a question when you're learning a new skill. Just ask anything, keep on asking in different ways for it to explain it to you. So it said, okay, great. Go to your Linux home folder. And then it still wasn't, I think it still wasn't clarifying because in my mind, I was like, where does this Linux environment sit in my computer? So it started giving me these steps. And then here, I found this on my computer. It says Linux, and then it's installed Ubuntu. And I said, and I was doing voice to text, so it's not always going to be correct grammar. So I would do it in this folder or right click on the folder. So like I was basically saying, like, am I running all of this like outside this folder? Or do I click inside this folder inside a Linux environment? So like that's as like hand holding as I'm trying to get. And it says, okay, great, you're super close. And that folder is exactly what you want. So I'm like, okay, great. And then when I'm looking at where to create the folder, so you do not want to right click the folder and and it said install inside the Ubuntu. Okay, so it said go to your Linux terminal, create the folder, why this matters. Okay, so now it says, it told me to go to my Linux terminal. But okay, how do I open my Linux terminal? So I like tried to right click on my computer and I took a screenshot of my options and I said, like, I don't see the option to open the terminal in Ubuntu here. Like, I just don't know how to open it. So it said, yeah, because Windows doesn't offer the native open Ubuntu terminal. You're seeing only window-based commands. So it said, here's the best way to access the right place. Use Ubuntu terminal. But it wasn't getting it. Like, it wasn't getting that I don't know how to find the Ubuntu terminal. So I'm like, okay, great. Where do I find my Ubuntu WSL terminal? And then here, this is where it finally got me into an environment that I was able to start working within the Linux environment. So it said, click the start menu, type in Ubuntu. You should see something like this. Click that, it will open a Linux terminal inside WSL. Okay, that's the real Linux environment. And then, okay, it said I could create a shortcut. So I did that, and it still gave me an error code. So I took that code and I just pasted it in. I said, okay, why are you still getting the error code? So it says, even though you ran the command line within Claude projects, the NPM is still calling a Windows copy of the node that lives in the Windows terminal, even though I was literally in the WSL environment in Linux. So then it went to help me confirm what node I'm using and what I want to see, what I'm seeing, how to install a purely Linux copy on it, and then make sure the Windows node is not a first path, reinstall it, and then do all of that. So then I was like, okay, great. How do I install Node.js within Linux? So then it said option A, it's fast but older, Ubuntu's built-in packages. Then option B, and here it was telling me what to do. So now, okay, great. I got a lot of steps in mind, but still it wasn't working. So I opened the Ubuntu Linux terminal. So I said, here's my screenshot. And let's start from the beginning and walk me through it. And then, okay, this is where it started to work. So it said, okay, 1, update and install the prerequisites. So I took this and I pasted it in and clicked enter. Then I installed this and clicked enter. And then I did these and clicked enter. And then I installed these and I typed in this, and this was all working, I believe. And it was giving me the steps. Actually, okay, yeah. And then I was following those steps and I installed, you can see here, we installed it. And it said, okay, your Linux side node is perfectly installed. Then it said, make sure that you have these numbers, install Claude Code again, create a copy. Okay. Then it said here, after I installed this, it said, do you want to update? So I was like, do I update this? And then it said, should you upgrade? The trade-offs. I decided not to upgrade. So I was like, okay, great. Now what do I do? So it said, you're ready to install. You're ready for the final 2 steps. And okay, so now I have Ubuntu that's running, that has Linux and clean workspace. So now install the Claude Code in your Linux environment, which hopefully should not still call the Windows environment. And option B, okay, copy over, but I don't want to do that. Okay, so yeah, oh yeah, there was more errors. Okay, so I followed what it told me to do. I was in the Linux environment, install, and it said Claude Code command not found. So I pasted the screenshot. I was like, it's still not working. Okay, so it says, here's why the package wasn't found. Check that the package was really installed. So then I did this, maybe it's called a different name, find the prefix, add it to different path. But I was just putting in these commands in the terminal. And then this is what happened. But it still wasn't on the correct path to run the command. So then I had to do this again. And then I got this. which was, I believe, the correct code that it said, and then locate the global bin directory, the path, and it still was not working. See, after all of that, like people think, okay, you're going to use AI, it's going to work. And if it doesn't work, ask it again, and then it'll work. And then maybe if I like try to word it 2, 3 times, then it'll work. But I'm saying there are certain problems that you have to just really push through. And if you really want to get something done, just try different ways and figure out different solutions. And that's where this is truly amazing. Because this was way out of my league of what I knew how to do. So I was just copying and pasting. So it said, okay, this bin was removed. So then it was giving me more instructions. And then I was typing that in. And then it's okay, test it, quick steps. And then I got the bin directory added and reloaded. And then verify it's on the correct path. And then it said, okay, opening cursor. And then, yeah, that, and then it worked. And then it was amazing. So now I want to show you like what that actually looks like. Okay. So this is within cursor. And you can see here, I'll close this. Like I created a quick snake game, and I'll show you that after. But if you go to new terminal, since I'm on Windows, it opens in PowerShell. So now I'm saying I could run. So Gemini has their CLI command. So if I run Gemini here, see that works because I'm within the terminal that works. But if I click new terminal and it opens PowerShell, but then I try to do Claude, see, it's not recognized. So this is where all of this stuff happened. So you could actually launch different terminals in your cursor environment. So here it says Ubuntu WSL. So now it's loading these files within WSL. And then now if I type in Claude here, it works. See, and that was the process from start to finish on wanting to install Claude Code on my Windows system with AI, the entire steps from start to finish. And I'm going to send out like a cheat sheet of like all of the everything you need to know about installing it in my newsletter later today or tomorrow. So if you want to get that, you could sign up to my newsletter. It's called the AI Toolbox. You could find the link on my LinkedIn, or you could go to my Substack and you should see to sign up there for my newsletter. But here, I'll just show you some of the things that you're able to do. So here I was able to create let's see. Let's run this. It's popped up. Okay, so this was like the mini snake game I created. It's like this was in like 2 seconds of creating it. Well, let's see if like we could add some other stuff. So here we'll have this over here. We'll have this, and I'll show you how cool like the terminal is. So here, so how do you think can make this snake game better? So like the cool thing about Claude Code is that it always like systematically plans, reads the entire code base, and really thinks through the problem more than other coders, other large language models. See, it's thinking, and it makes its own to-do lists. So it gave me okay, let's do these visual enhancements. Okay, it made its own to-do list, so it's not like it just tries to do everything right away. It actually thinks through its steps, goes one by one, and this is significantly better at coding than anything I've tried. So now I'm just going to let this go and just do its thing for this file. And like you could keep track of the updates over here. That's why, like, if you open it in Cursor, you could keep track of everything that's going on. Okay, so it's still working. Replace rectangles with snake head and bodies, right? Okay, did these first 2 tasks. Now it's gonna do this third task. Did the second 2. Okay, all of these have been implemented. Okay, here's what it added. Okay, now let's go back here. Let's reload this. See what happens. See, and now, just like that, it's much cooler. Like you add fireworks. See, and that essentially is the start of how you have an idea and just make it a reality through AI with perseverance and patience. So I'm definitely going to try out Claude Code a lot more. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to send me a message. Let me get Substack link, because I'm going to send out a cheat sheet of everything I discussed and how to install it. There's my Substack. Let's see. Here's my Substack with the newsletter. I'm going to send that out later today or tomorrow, and I do a lot of AI updates and keep you updated on the latest trends just like this. Walkthroughs, real insights, no fluff. If you really enjoyed this, I would really appreciate it if you repost, share with your network, like it, and I hope you all have a great day.